Hello, please check if I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 Please let me know when I can start. Do I need to turn on my video?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, Shubham. Good evening, everyone. I can see a lot of chats coming up. Okay. I think the recording has started, right? Anjali, like who is
Yes, sir.
taking care of the things?
Me, sir.
Okay, Anjali. Fine. So some people I can see they are getting like added on. So do I need to add or you are just taking care
No,
of?
no, you, sir, you don't need to.
Okay.
Our team are doing this.
Okay. Fine. Let's wait for 2 minutes and then we can start. Let some people more join.
So, constantly working late is not necessarily a sign of a hard worker, but rather the inability to use time wisely. So, for the starting of new chapter of today's learning, I, Anjali Kushwaha, being your host of today's event, wants to extend a warm greeting and and good evening to all of you present here. I hope you all are doing amazing. On the behalf of whole Sam's family, I would like you all for our today's international webinar on the topic interview readiness. And to add our guest of honor, today's speaker, Mr. Tohin Kumar Saha. It's a great honor to have you, sir, with us, and we are grateful for your presence. Also, I see a quite a number of people are still joining. So before I proceed, let me take a brief moment for the introduction of our organization. Thames Welfare Foundation. It's a non-profit entity established to work in the areas of education, social welfare, women empowerment, skill development, and entrepreneurship, health, research, culture, and international corporations, sports, environment, and any other similar sectors. We promote healthy lives, a balanced and active community to strong business. Now, let me introduce to our speaker to all of you. He's an engineer and has 9 years of corporate journey experience with Fortune 500 as well, the Big Four. He has also worked with EMEA, US, and Japan. Worked with the PwC, CTS, Accenture, IBM, UST Global, Deloitte, and advisory consultant in SAF domain. He's also freelance SAF data analytics and data interrogation mentor to large corporate houses.
Well, it is SAP.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
It is SAP.
SAP, right.
Yes.
Associated with the technical IT company Skilltesi as their VP, business development to enrich and diversify their product portfolio and manage market in India, APAC, Middle East, and UK. He's a
Asia Pacific.
founder. Yes,
Yes, it's
he's a
Asia
founder
Pacific.
of founder and CEO of Success Scholar, a soft skill trainer academic brand having established its entity in Kolkata since 2017 and running successfully across India. And he is a motivational speaker as well as a soft skills facilitator, having taught for more than 2,000 plus hours across 28 colleges so far in the 6 years since the inception of Success Scholar and have conducted 120 plus workshops. He's also a social worker. So I welcome you, sir, in today's webinar. So before starting of today's event, there are some ground rules and participants needs to obey that. First, feel free to drop your questions in the chat box. will answer every questions in the end. Every participant is requested to keep their mic mute. And lastly, a feedback form will be shared in the chat box. And now over to you, sir.
Okay. So first of all, let me thank Anjali and the SEMS Foundation to have given such a wonderful and a very great warm welcome to this event in this afternoon. So I thank each one of you for giving me the opportunity to speak and definitely to understand and to learn from you as well, because I feel learning is not always a unidirectional process, but learning is all about what you also can do and what I also can do. It's about a bilateral process, right? So from that viewpoint, I would like to welcome as well as thank each one of you to have participated and to have come across different geographical boundaries to join this session and to actually help SEMS Welfare Foundation as well as me as a speaker to make it a great success. Without wasting much more time, I'll just quickly share my screen where we would be starting on learning about interview readiness and what is interview preparation and why is it required, right? So please let me know if my screen is visible, Anjali.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
1 second.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Right? Okay. Great. I guess everyone can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Just acknowledge.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So today we would be learning about interview preparation. So what is interview preparation? What are the tips and tricks that we need to keep into mind, considering the facts that different types of jobs requires us to indulge into various kinds of portfolio, and thereby it has to have a very good impact on your social platform as well as yourself when you're going for the interview, right? So what exactly is an interview? So an interview is basically a test. So this is not like a pen and paper test that you have to go, you have to give the exam and you have to come out of the examination hall and tell that mom, dad, I have given the test, wonderful. It is all about like understanding how confident you are, what exactly you can do, and what exactly the company needs to know about you so that they can actually extend their particular job into getting you as a particular person, right? So interview preparation is all about not being able to just speak what you know. It is all about your confidence, your body language, your communication skills, your understandability, your empathy, your generosity, and all of the things together, which makes us into finalizing that this is also part of your soft skills, right? So soft skills is all about how you interact with people, how you speak with people, how you walk, how you talk, how you actually exchange your information, and the body language that is associated while you are doing all of these things together. Okay, let's go for the next slide. Okay, so let's understand why we need the interview preparation or why is it required. So it is always required for you to prepare yourself for an interview because it will be helping you to increase your confidence. So for example, today I am an engineer, okay? So yes, honestly, I'm an engineer only, okay? However, due to the work portfolio, I am working across the marketing domain. I work as an operations manager. I work as a CEO, as a founder, everything, right? So honestly speaking, when you are going for any kind of job, the first priority should be understanding and having the confidence whether you are applicable or whether you are able to understand what is the required job profile or the required content that they require from you or they intend to take out from you. So the first point will be the increased confidence. So when you know about the particular company or when you know about the particular space, what do you need to do? You'll be having great confidence, right? So the second point is better answers to common interview questions. So you have to also prepare yourself for the common interview questions that are asked across various types of interviews so that you are like you have to be completely ready when you're going for this kinds of jobs. The third point is the ability to ask intelligent questions, right? So when we will be done with the entire session, you will be able to ask the questions that you feel are the right questions to ask to an interviewer, right? So this is the agenda that I'm trying to set up as a part of the introductory session, right? And then the final thing is that you have to have a better understanding of the company, right? What is the company, whether it's a FMCG company, whether it's a logistics company, whether it's a product company, whether it's any other XYZ company. So you have to understand. So the four things, what did we learn today? Before going for any interview, you have to have a good confidence. You have to know the common interview questions that are commonly asked. You need to be very intelligent while asking questions to the interviewer so that you can showcase that you are quite interested for that particular job profile or the job role. And the fourth one would be you have to better understand the company so that whenever they ask about your your skills, you can definitely vouch and ask them that these are the skills that I already have, and these are the skills I know that the company also wants from me, right? So I think I'm the best fit for the company because of blah, 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 blah reasons. Whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can give the reasons, depending upon which company you are applying for, which segment you're applying for, which role you're applying for. It can be a developer role, it can be a manager role, it can be a logistics, delivery, client delivery role, it can be anything, right? So now moving ahead. So moving ahead, that what exactly do we have to do for the research, right? So whenever I say that you have to go for an interview, the first thing that comes up to your mind is there would be like so many people. So how do I express myself? So what is the company? So how do I need to say myself? Because the interviewers will be quite confident. I do not know how to communicate. I do not have a very good body language. So how do I do? So the first thing about confidence is understanding from the back end that what is the company all about? How do you need to go about that company? What are the different skills that they require or they hire? What are the things that they are nurturing inside as a part of the cultural benefactors in the company? So thereby, whenever you go for an interview, the first point that you should be very, very, very much confident about yourself must be, you must have a good research on the company. If you have a good research on the company, even if they tell you that this is not a job profile that you are expected of applying to us, you can definitely tell them, sir, with due respect, I feel that this particular job role is required as per the company career track records that I have seen on the website. And therefore, I feel that I am the right fit because I have got these 3 skills which are essential for delivering and to deliberate your skills in the particular job role. Okay, clear? So let's understand the next point, understanding the job role, which is very much also important, right? So the first thing you have done, like you have understood the company, what is the company all about, and what you need to do in order to read all about the company. So the background check of the company, right? So the second point would be the understanding the job role. So once you have understood the company, now you have to understand what is the job role that they are hiring for, right? Whether it is for a developer, whether it is for a senior analyst, whether it is for a team lead, whether it's for a manager, a vice president, a senior vice president, a partner, like and any other things like a CXO, like for example, the CEO, CFO, CMO, COO, right? So you have to understand the job role which they have actually let out as a part of their advertisement or their internal job hiring portal, where you can understand that whether this job role is something relevant to my job role, what I do, or it is not something, right? So the first thing that you have to do is review the job description and requirements thoroughly. If you do not go through the job description thoroughly, then it will be definite that you will land up into getting the wrong information for yourself, applying to the wrong portal, applying to the wrong job, and landing up into getting frustrated. Why? Because you felt that you have given the right interview, you think that you have given the right placement and the right question and answer. However, the company thinks that you are not the right fit for that particular job role, right? The second point, identifying the key skills. So you must understand what are the key skills that they require. For example, if someone wants to hire you for a software developer role, right? So software developer means someone has to have a good background in the computer sciences. Someone has to have a good experience in Java, C, machine learning, or AI, ML, any type of platform. So you have to identify what is the qualification that they require. whether they require a BCA, whether they require a mechanical candidate, whether they require a electronics and communication candidate. So what is the qualification that they require? And also the responsibilities that would be associated as a part of the dimension tables. What is a dimension? A dimension means whatever are the different type of things that they are looking forward to, except you being an engineer, you being a BCA, you being a chartered accountant, right? So what are the extra benefactors that you can put up on the plate so that you can thrive and the business can also ensure that you give them the best possible results, right? The third point is the assess how exactly your experience and expertise value and align with the position, right? So for example, I am a mechanical engineer, for example, right? So if I'm a mechanical engineer, I'll definitely want to first go for any type of shipping docks or any type of mechanical like Tantia. I'll be going for like Lafarge and Toubro, L&T, Infotech, like the different types of construction business. And therefore, it will be good for me to get those jobs. However, it might happen that being a mechanical engineer, I have worked across various IT corporate companies. It can happen, definitely it will happen that if I have got some opportunities in IT. So what is going to be my take? So being my take, even if I am being a mechanical engineer, but as I have an IT skills, I can definitely be having the expertise on that particular platform. For example, they want in Java. So it might happen that even a mechanical engineer can also have something in common, which they can be in interest for the Java platform. So they can apply for the Java role also. So that means that it is not always important that the key skills are the niche ones that you should be hovering, but it should be also assessing that whether you know those particular skills. And even if you do not fit for the qualification, you should be fit for that particular job role, right? So this all depends upon how you understand the job role. What is the job that are given out, that are being given out as a part of the program? What are the internal job hirings? What are the different people that are hiring for this post? Whether it's a like a post that requires a lot of expertise on your like components such as marketing, or does it need only the technical skills of you? So it will be like a comprehensive thing that you have to look after when you have the job role to be understood, right? Now going for the next part, right? So once you have understood the job, once you have understood the company, so I'm going one by one. So first you have to understand the company, where the job role is coming from. Next, after the company, you are looking forward to the job, right? Which job is actually related to this particular company where you are applying. So the second point would be to understand your CV or your resume, right? So a resume would be more like a one-pager that you would be doing. It will be containing all the basic stuff, the major understandings, and CV would be more like a professional CV, which contains like one page or two-pager. It will be more like those people have more experiences, those have more like numbers, figures to apply and to add on, they will be creating the CV. And for the freshers, we officially say it is good that you make a resume, because you do not have a lot of facts, numbers, experiences, agendas, and your propaganda will not be that much of a vital aspect, right? So when we speak about the CV or the resume, you have to understand that you have to create an ATS compliant resume, right? So what is an ATS compliant resume? Because different kinds of HRs or the various types of jobs that are there, the HRs that are already there in the market, they cannot just constantly see 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh CVs every month, because they get a huge volume and a high volume of recorded CVs, right? So ATS is a tool through which they actually give the keywords, right? So if they want mechanical, the mechanical will be a keyword. If Java is a keyword, they will add Java. So your CV is going to be scanned, right? Your CV will be scanned in the application tracking system, the ATS system, and this system will give you out or give them the feedback that, okay, this particular person has all of these particular data criteria that are getting matched. So when the CV and when the keywords are getting matched, then your CV is a hit. And then thereby you will be getting a call from the HR that, yes, we have liked your CV and you can really drop in and you can give the interview and get selected. That is a postpartum thing that we have to discuss, right? So the first thing is you have to have a good, powerful resume. And having a powerful resume means you have to have it ATS compliant, right? So it has to have all of the keywords in place, which keywords are very much important for that particular job role. And therefore, this will be giving you a high impact to what curriculum or what results that you are taking with yourself, becoming the person in the interviewee panel, right? Because when you are in the interviewee panel, your CV will be just giving you the gateway, right? So after you are done with the gateway, inside the the room where you are giving the interview, it would be your skills, it will be your confidence, it will be your communication skills, which will be very much going to be assessed, right? Is it clear till here, everyone? Clear till here, everyone? Can I just get a thumbs up, or anyone just can you just share in the chat a thumbs up or something? Am I going too fast, too slow, moderate? Is it okay?
No, sir. Okay.
Is it okay, Shubham?
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Okay, understanding the things, concepts clear for now?
Yes, sir. Clearly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now let's understand. So the first point was understanding the company, the job. Now the resume is also done. So the first 3 points are done, dusted. Now, when you get inside the room, so the room is very like tensed room. So people are very much in a panic. People are one person came out of the room and said, no, the interview was very tough. We could not answer it. And you are getting a bit of agitation. You are getting a lot of panic. I would say you are getting vexed. You are getting anxious. So all of these different kinds of adjectives are going to define the situation inside a common interview room, right? So once you go inside the room now, so you have to greet the particular interviewer. So how do you greet? So you have to greet it. Hello, good afternoon, sir. Good morning, sir. Good evening, sir. Depending upon the particular like time frame of the day, and they will let you in, right? So once they let you in, they will either tell you whether to sit, and if they do not tell you, you have to still stand, because that is the way you should be applying yourself the goodness that you are someone who has a great potential. You are a person who has a great knowledge of what are the different soft skills that you need to cultivate in order to make the interview go the best shot. And if you know that, how do you actually cater to the different questions and the different like I would say the different types of bouncers that would be coming? How would you be coping up to the bouncers, right? So the first thing that they would be asking you, or probably the common question that we have, that would be, tell me something about yourself. So this is a very, very, very common question for each and everything, right? So even if you go for a manager interview, even if you go for an associate interview, even if you go for an intern interview, tell me something about yourself. So this pointer is all about what you want to tell to the interviewer apart from your academics or apart from what is mentioned in the CV or the resume. CV and resume already has everything written, correct? Everyone will be telling, sir, we have everything on the written on the CV. So why do we get the question? Tell me something about yourself. So this is all about what exactly you can tell, which is not mentioned in the CV, right? So this will be like some achievement, some rewards, some awards, some leadership activities that you have taken care, some coordination activities that you have done, some paperwork, some white papers, some research papers, right? Some sports, right? Some medal of honor. So it can be anything. So it has to be something like you are giving yourself like an upper edge that, yes, I have done this. However, I have done also these things, which makes me a very competent person. So telling me about something should be very confident about yourself, your details, your job, your requirement, your understanding, and how exactly you can feel yourself confident for the job readiness or the job placement, right? So you have given all of the details, right? So the second question that probably people may ask or definitely will ask, right? Why are you interested in the position? So these are the very common questions that you will be encountering while giving the interview, okay? So why are you interested in the position? So you have to justify. Now, we have to think about what we did just 10 minutes back, right? First, I told about the company. Then I told about the job role inside the company or the vacancy, right? So now why are you interested in the position will actually make you to help you recollect the past accessories or for the past knowledge that you have acquired through learning through the platform, like the company, what is the job role and why do they require you or why do they want to hire you, right? So you have to give them the valid reasons that what is the position and why exactly you are interested. So you have to give them that, yes, I feel that I'm ready for the position because I have the niche skills, which are the technical skills in Java or a full stack or a SAP or like a Python or whatever it is. And I think that I have the required set of knowledges which will help me to gain and to help the company learn and grow. And thereby, I would be also in a position to conquer my own, and acquire the skills that I require and definitely can help the company to grow in such a way so that it has more of an equilibrium effect so that I also learn and the company also grows, right? So you have to answer in such a way so that it has to be very gullible. It has to have a very professional touch. Yet it has to be very strict and to the point. You cannot just beat around the bush stating, then I think this can also be a factor that this position is I am interested for. So you have to give them a specific reason. Why are you interested? Because they are also interested, because they need you. So always remember, during an interview, do not think that you are going as a beggar, right? Even they are actually coming down from their own stature or their own point, understanding that they need someone. So it is like a demand and a supply. So whenever the demand meets the supply, and that is when you can understand you are getting selection, you are getting it selected, right? So you have to be very confident on the interview. You have to be very confident on the day when the interview is taking place. And for God's grace and by any type of grace, I would say, do not try to ask any other person who has just been into the interview room, how did it go? Because once you ask them, how did it go? Even if they go and even if they do well, they will tell it went really bad. It will just make you sulk. Why? Because it will just turn you down. It will just, like, what can I say? It will be not be elevating your morale. It will be more like a stress that you will be having. You will be getting anxious. You'll be having some panic attacks. Why? Because you felt that that person could not do. That means I also will not be doing. Forget that. Simple. Do not ask anything. Go with a best attitude. At best attitude does not mean ki bas I want to go. I'm just in a very casual style. Chalo, I have worn my shorts or my like slippers and I'm going. No, be in your professional attire. Give it your best shot. Have a small smile on your face. Don't smile like not like that. A small smile so that people understand that you are very professional. You have a good body language. You have a good communication skills and you know how to interact, right? The next point, what are your strengths and weaknesses? So these are actually asked to understand what are the different things that you feel are the strengths and the weaknesses. And when you answer these questions, you should be always in the fact that strengths are like 1, 2, 3. I am honest. I have this thing. I have known this thing. I was I'm a leader because I have done this thing. Always justify whatever you say. It should not be going like, I know this. You have to justify so that people who are taking the interview, they can prepare themselves, they can understand, and they can think that, yes, this particular candidate is telling the truth. Correct? And now when they ask you about the weaknesses, what is the weakness? A weakness is something which you feel that will pull you down. But in an interview, that should be something that should be pulling you up. How? The weakness should be something like, I think that I am a very hard worker. However, I can only focus at one work at a time. I'm just giving this as an example. It can be in numerous things that you can think about, right? So how this is a weakness? Weakness means I am not a very good person in multitasking. That means I cannot do more than 1 or 2 tasks at a time. Why? Because I am very dedicated in my work. Whatever work I do, I'll be dedicating my full attention to that work so that that work is done at a top-notch level. It should be 100 on 100, right? So that means your weakness is something that is also your strength. So that means you cannot tell that weakness means I cannot wake up early in the morning. So what do? You can tell definitely, but what do? So sometimes you can tell like, I feel I was having a weakness and I feel that I should share that I cannot wake up early in the morning. I'm just not a morning person. However, I have something that to share, right? Now you can tell what? You have to tell that initially I was having this weakness, but for now, what I have done is I'm trying to manage my work schedule in such a way so that I can actually go off to sleep at early night so that I can wake up also early. So this gives me a feeling of trust and bonding with myself and committed to myself that I can also do and not only others can do. So you have to justify whatever you say whenever you are going for an interview. That means you are not duping anyone. You are not telling someone a lie, right? A lie does not only mean that you are telling a small word which is like inconspicuous to whatever you have done, or something which is not like validated against what you have mentioned on the CV. It has to be always a potential action item that you have done or you have not done also, and that getting validated and justified, correct? The fourth point that we have here, describe a challenging situation and how you resolved it. So this is also a question that interviewer can ask you, right? So what is a challenging situation to you? So for me, I can tell my challenging situation was to create my own startup, have a value addition of like XYZ, have these many members, scale up the business from rupee 1 to 50 lakh or 1 CR or 10 CR in the next 5 years. So what is the challenging situation to you? It can be like you were not a very good mathematician or you did not know the particular subject. However, practicing every day, day in and day out, you actually excelled in that particular subject and you actually made sure that that subject is now the top strength of yours, right? So you can manipulate. The weakness can be something, it can be strength. Now the challenging situation can be whatever you have done and whatever you have created in order to resolve it. So XYZ was a problem for me. It was a challenge statement. I was unable to do this. However, after having this, I have done this many steps. And after this, I have done this many steps. So you have to give them a transformational journey. What is a transformational journey? For example, I was more of a person with an obese in nature, or obesity was there in my character or in my like in my human physiology. So what I did is I went to the gym, I hit the gym, I walked, I ran, I jogged, I have done all of the various kinds of exercises and different kinds of regime I have followed, being a keto diet or being anything, and I have made myself sure that I can actually understand that I have made myself at a lean structure what I wanted to, right? So you have to give them like a before and an after effect, correct? The next question that probably interviewers may ask is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So this is a very broad question, which is difficult perhaps sometimes for freshers to answer, but you have to understand the entire, what can I say, the inner depth of the question. So this question is basically asked to understand whether you are a visionary person, whether you are someone that is like day in, I'm doing this work, going out, again coming back, going out. So what is a vision around it? So whether you are a visionary person, though after 5 years, I want to become like a manager, I want to manage a business portfolio of the Asia Pacific or the like it can be Japan, US, Middle East, Africa, whatever it is. So it has to have a very tangible results, right? So if I am told that in 5 years, what do you do? So I want to think myself, like I want to take my company and I want to make it like this. I want to have this much turnover with this many stakeholders. I want to launch my own IPO. So for me, it can be different because I am a different person right now. But for you, it can be something related to that particular job or related to that particular item. It can be like you want to crack your MBA exams and you have to go for your consulting like job careers. It can be going for an MBB. It can be going for the big 4 companies, whatever it is. So it will be something that you have to decide what you want to do after 5 years. Okay? So these are the very common questions that you will be getting, each one of you will be getting to be asked while you are going for an interview, right? So during the interview, what the questions that I asked was definitely a more of a behavioral question. So there are 2 parts actually to the interviews. So one is the behavioral part and one is the technical part. The behavioral part means your name, so your teamwork, how do you plan your activities, what are your strengths, weaknesses, all of these things have the behavioral questions. So we have the star, like the star method has to be followed. So the situation, the task, the action, the result. Okay. So always remember this point, the third point. So whatever I told in the last slide, it has to have a star method. So you have to understand the situation, the task that was associated, the action that you did, and finally the result, that was the outcome. And that should be the structure of your response so that you can become an ace in giving interviews. So wherever you go, whenever you go, whatever has been asked, you can crack any interviews, whatnot. And in fact, I would say after being myself as a motivational speaker, a behavioral coach, a soft skills trainer, wherever I have gone, whatever has been the discussion, be it an interview or be it like a sales call or a marketing call, I have ensured myself to be the best version of myself with understanding and answering each of the questions and giving them the best of myself. So you have to always go with that vigor that मेरे को करना है, मेरे को पता है, और मैं करके वापस आऊंगा. I'll not be returning until and unless I am convinced I am done and I am dusted completely. Fine. The next thing is the technical questions. So the behavioral questions is done. So people will be asking you about your different traits and everything. So now the technical question. So what is a technical question? So for example, I'm an engineer. Honestly, I'm an engineer. Okay, I'm an electronics and communication engineer. So for me, my question will be related to my subject of study. So it can be a subject of like digital signal processing. It can be digital communication. It can be VLSI. It can be design thinking. It can be a design analytics. It can be something on Fourier transform. It can be something on any other thing. For example, for an MBA person, it can be something on guesstimates. It can be something on problem solving. It can be something on the market analysis or the market entry, profitability, consulting case studies. For a marketeer or for a marketing person, it can be something related to analytics. It can be related to the business portfolio management. It can be something for the advertisement, branding, promotion, all of those things. That means wherever you are going for the interview, the first part would be definitely the behavioral questions, followed by the technical questions. Why? Because technical questions will give the interviewer the traction that you not only know and ace the behavioral questions, but also you know the technical questions. So the technical questions will be assessing your technical capacities. So what is the subject of study? Behavioral question would be assessing the profiling of the entire traits that you have internal. That is the soft skills. That is the people skills. So it will be more on the people skills. Technical will be more on the subject matter study or the subject matter that you have studied. Okay. So what questions you can ask? The next point is sometimes once the interview is done, your interviewer might ask you, so what is the question? Do you have any question or do you want to ask us anything? So you have to ask and you have to prepare your own question set on your mind whenever you are going for the interview. So it has to be definitely relevant. It cannot be irrelevant questions that you are asking and the interviewer is not suggesting you what to do. So for example, so what is the final trajectory of business in the 2023 lineup that XYZ company is planning, so that I can add the value to the company, right? So you have to ask questions which are very much to your job role, internal to the team, and something which are not disclosed in a website or any forum, which will give the particular HR or the technical interviewer to understand that you are really interested in the job profile. That means you have really invested your time, research on the job profile to understand what has been and what will be the things that you are wanting to do. So you have to always prepare questions to ask. And if they ask you, do you have any questions for us? You cannot tell, no, ma'am, I do not have any questions. That's all. No, ma'am, I was just curious about to ask when I was just entering. So what is the total agenda or total XYZ that you are looking forward in the business portfolio if I join? And what would be my job role if I am at all selected for this particular profile? So how do I need to work? Whether the work will be more of like an on-site mode or an off-site mode, or whether it would be a combination of both of the things. So you have to have a valid question that you will be asking so that the people who are taking the like the interview, they get the traction ki, yes, this person is quite serious and we think that this person would be the right fit for that particular job role. Clear, everyone? The next one is you have to dress professionally. As I already told, whenever you go, whether it's a interview or whether it's going for just like your like going for your what can I say? Not only just interview, I would rather be more specific towards whenever you go for any professional occasion. Let's term this as a professional occasion, right? So it can be going for a job, it can be going for a it can be like going for an event, it can be going for a hosting event. You are hosting some event at your own office. It can be you have a seminar. It can be you are going to a training. You are going for the interview. So all of the professional spaces, wherever you go, always remember you have to have a very professional and a formal attire. If you do not know what company or what is the dress code of that particular brand or company, you will not be able to fit in and people will look down upon you. Why? Because you will be like an, what can I say, odd man out in the particular domain, because people might be professionally dressed, however, you can be casually dressed, or vice versa. Some companies might also tell that you do not need to have a professional attire always. So that is dependent on company to company, case to case basis, right? So you have to be very well dressed wherever you go, whenever you go, because that is where you can build up your charisma and your personality. And your personality is not something that will be only showcased on that particular day of your interview. It is going to be showcased each and every day, every time, all day long, all throughout the year, every 10 years, and wherever you go and wherever people follow you. Simple. Even be it adding a photo on LinkedIn, even be it going for a professional photo shoot, going for a professional event, you have to create that aura. You have to create that ambience. You have to create that positive vibe, I would say, mostly surrounded by you, so that people actually get attracted. So it has to be a law of attraction, right? So there's a book from, I think, Joseph Murphy. So it's a law of attraction. So you must have that law and attraction to the people who are actually seeing you every day, so that they have this vibe ki chalo, I think this bande mein bahut dum hai. This person is really confident. And your dress up, your body language should tell everything about you, correct? So this should be your final thing that you should be understanding. And definitely the final one, which we have to always understand, is you have to practice non-verbal communication. Non-verbal means the same thing that I told. See, whenever I'm also training now, right? So I'm also in a virtual platform. I cannot see you. I cannot touch any candidates, right? I cannot see anyone, right? I can see only my screen, correct? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use my own body language, articulate, use my body language in such a way so that it has a good posture, it has a good eye contact, it is engaging into active listening. That means I'm listening to you. I'm asking you that whether this is okay or not, whether I'm going fast or slow, what I'm doing. Your handshake, you have to have a very firm handshake. That does not mean like this. It has to be a very firm and a very good handshake, so that it is very confident. People must feel that once they take you, they are rescued, they are relieved. I don't have to think about anyone else apart from Tuhin Kumar Shah, or apart from Shubham, apart from XYZ, any person. I just named Shubham because his name was showing on my screen. Okay. So you have to have that great impact so that people respect you, and always remember your actions speak louder than words. Even if you are not a very good communicator, even if you are not speaking or blabbering or telling anything, you must always understand that your body language, or the non-verbal, or the paralinguistics, in communication skills, we tell this as paralinguistics. Your paralinguistics must be such that it definitely defines the way you talk, the way you move, the way you walk, and the way you represent yourself, and the aura that is getting vibrated, or I would say the aura that you are actually releasing throughout your vicinity, so that people understand, people love, and people care, and people respect for you, right? And always remember to be early on time and be organized. You should not be like something like I'm like 10 minutes late in the interview. So always try to be on time, be punctual, and have at least the documentations which are required. So these are like the nitty-gritties that will be required, right? So this is something that you have to be very planned in focus. Like if you know that tomorrow I have an interview, so by today you should be able to locate the route, whether it is a bus route, or whether you have to go by any app cab, or whether you have to take your own motorcycle or your own vehicle, whatever it is, or you are going with your friend, you have to know the route. It might happen that 10 a.m. you have a meeting, or 10 a.m. you have an interview, and somehow you do not know the road and you land up reaching the interview location at 10:15, which is definitely a no-no, right? So you have to go with the best attire, the best knowledge, and the best personality that people can think about at the best possible time, because opportunity, once it comes, it will never wait for anyone. So you have to grab the opportunity. And we are in India right now, my dear friends and my students. So in India, we have a lot more people than a lot more jobs. So always be ready to harness your own skills so that you can actually deliver what is required out of you at any particular job profile and the job role. This etiquette, I have already told, the handshake, the thank you mail, you have to give a thank you mail after you are done with your interview, and thereby it will be giving them a traction and the learning that is actually interested in the interview. Okay. So, hello, is anyone speaking? I am unable to understand if anyone is telling it. Divya, if anyone is speaking anything, can you please let them know to like write down the pointers on the window so that I can take it after I am done with the presentation, which I am done almost.
Sure, sir.
Okay, thank you. And my voice is loud and clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So the final point that we have to understand is mock interviews. So whenever you go for any interviews, always remember, try to do a mock interview whenever you are getting some time with your friends or your colleagues or whatever is the people who are giving the same kind of interview, so that you can understand what questions they are asking and whether you are confident enough to answer those questions or not. So it is very much important that you are very like completely ready with your interview, your preparations, your questionnaires and everything whenever you are applying for a particular job. So that was all about the session, and I would like to open the house right now for asking me questions if there's any, and I would request my other co-host or the host to please help me get the questions so that I can answer the questions. Thank you.
What a wonderful knowledge given by you, sir. Thank you so much for being there with us and sharing your experiences and your knowledge with us. I hope our audience learned many new things from this session. Once again, I would like to thank you for joining us and sharing your experience, your precious time and knowledge with us that has added an extra spark to this event and made it even more special.
Right.
Sir, there are few questions which our audience wants to be answered. So with your permission, shall we?
Yes, please.
So the first question is, how can I overcome nervousness and anxiety during an interview?
Okay, so this is a very common question. I think this will be answering all of the things that we already discussed. So the first thing is plan ahead. If you have good knowledge about that particular interview or that particular job role, you'll be very much confident when you are going for the job. The second thing that you can do is practice a lot. Try to stand in front of a mirror. Try to stand in front of 2-3 people, like a public speaker. Try to speak up whatever you know about that particular job role or yourself, so that you can see where you have the hiccup. It is not essential that always you have to speak in English, but always try to practice in English so that whenever some person asks you in English, you should be able to speak up and in a confident manner, right? So you have to practice a lot, and anxiousness will not be going out in one day. That is why we have the soft skills development courses that we do or that I conduct into various colleges, where we train them more into soft skills grooming part and how to overcome their like their anxiety, their stage fright, and their nervousness. So this will need a lot of time to practice, and through practice, you can definitely do well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is, what are the some effective techniques for asking situational or hypothetical interview questions?
Okay, so this is a very technical one. So probably you have to understand. So what I do usually is try to understand the pulse of the interviewer. That means, for example, if I have a knack towards sports car. I'm just giving an example. I have a knack towards BMW or an Audi or a Mercedes, right? So you have to try to turn the conversation in such a way so that your technical skills, for example, I am an electronics and communication engineer, right? Being an engineer, why do I like the different brands that I just now named as Audi, BMW as a sports car? And you have to analyze and you have to actually understand. So it is more about understanding inside the situation rather than being in the situation, right? So you have to understand that person's interest also. So once you understand the person's interest, it will be giving you the traction to actually play around with his emotions. Why? Because that person will now be getting in touch with you. Like it's an intangible touch, but it will be more like a mentally, that person will be getting connected with you and that person can understand you and you can understand. So thereby it will be giving you an idea or a vibe that what exactly question if I ask or if he asks me, how can I answer that? So that person is already swayed, that person is already convinced. So you can ask the questions to make him more convinced. It's like sealing the coffin completely, right? So that is how I think you can do it.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, the next question is, can you provide some tips for virtual interview and how they are different from in-person interview?
Okay, so there are two things. So during the COVID time, we started with a virtual interview. So whenever before COVID, I would say before the pandemic era, so mostly people used to go for interviews. They used to take their own vehicle cab and they used to go to the interview place. They used to like have a very tensified situation. They have to wait for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. I have been when I was in my earlier journey, right? So nowadays, you don't have to travel. You don't have to wait. You are given a time. You are given a time, for example, 11 a.m. You have been given a time for that interview, right? So you go, you log in and you give the interview. So during this time, there are two things that has changed. One thing was the interview that we used to go physically that had more of a strenuous like activity on us. So we used to have a tension, we used to have a fear, the location, whether you will be reaching on time or not. That was more of an, I would say, a very rough patch of everyone's life. They used to travel, they used to have the running behind of everything. But now, when we are in the second generation or the second era of the interview preparations, we see that moreover, people are into virtual interviews, right? So people have to be very careful when in the virtual interviews, like they have to have a professional attire. Nevertheless, no one will be telling you that you cannot have like a normal general like a casual attire, but always remember that you have to always be in a professional attire. The background should be professional. So for example, I know that my background is professional, but it should not be that something is hanging in the background, some sticks are stacked up, some other things are stacked up. So the background should also be good. So before you go for an online, you have to see whether your internet connection is well, good and appropriate or not, whether someone is able to speak. So whenever I joined the session, I asked everyone, am I audible? That means I have to retrospect whether my voice, my everything is getting audible and if I visible or not. So the physical method was more like a traveling with a lot of hustling and bustling. But this is more like you have to be very appropriate. You have to have a very concise tips and tricks and the steps that I just now told you. You have to follow this. And I think everyone can do really well and good.
Thank you so much, sir. Each and every question answered by you was a very great piece of advice. It was very effective for our audience. Thank you, sir, for asking every question. Now, I would like to request everyone to kindly open their camera for a snapshot.
Okay. And also I have a request for everyone. If any one of you wants to take any suggestions, any support or any help from me, you can follow me on LinkedIn. So I can be found on LinkedIn as Tuhin Kumar Shaha. Anyone can please follow me on LinkedIn and you can ask me questions if you feel that I can be of any help to you.
Once again, I request everyone to please open their camera for selfies. Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional question, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. Feedback link is being already shared in the chat box. Please fill this form within 6 hours. Thank you so much for cooperating. Thank you so much, sir, for being there with us. So stay connected to us for new learnings. I, Namneet Kaur Grover, your host for the day, signing off. Have a wonderful day. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.